And around the 4th of July, my dad would always drive me to Greenback and let me pick up some fireworks. And that was a special time in my life. And I always enjoyed shooting those fireworks off. This one particular 4th of July, I was out in the yard shooting fireworks. And I saved this one firework to the last because it was the biggest thing I'd bought. You know, we save those things that are most precious to do the very last. And I pulled it out of my pocket. It just so happens that's not it. Just so happens I have that. Those are Tic Tacs, by the way. Those aren't fireworks. I have one of those boxes, and I actually saved this in my closet for a number of years. I'm a teacher. You know how we do things. We save stuff forever. And I looked at this one day, and because I remember as a child opening this box, and it's called a Sizzler. It's supposed to run along the ground making this screaming noise. And I remember as a child turning it over and reading, caution, use only under close adult supervision. So they were on the porch. I figure I'm okay here. Outdoor use only. Good idea. Place on level surface, light fuse, and get away. Good advice. So I stepped off of that porch. I laid it down on a level surface. My dad gave me a match. I lit it. And I got away, ready for this exciting thing that was going to happen. And I looked at that box, and the fuse got shorter and shorter. And my anticipation grew with every second. And all of a sudden, it lit, and it went. I didn't expect it to go. All that excitement for nothing. My grandfather was sitting on the front porch, and he said, "Son, that looked more like a fizzler than a sizzler." And I had to agree with him. I wanted to talk to you today about fizzle and sizzle, and I couldn't think of any other word that I think better would help me through this program than to use the word leader. So you'll notice that my presentation today is a takeoff of that word. And we're going to talk about the components that I think make an excellent leader. First letter in leader is L. And the L stands for listen. Be a good listener. Now, you know that I wouldn't be a teacher if I didn't give you what? A test. So I want you to do two things. In a minute, I'm going to ask you to stand up, and this has a two-part reason. Number one, the activity I'd like for you to do is a standing activity. Number two, this will allow you time to adjust your underwear. Would you please stand up? Now for the test. I am going to count to 3. And I'm going to say go. And I want you to clap your hands one time. Are you ready? Is everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, go! I got to some of you just in time. Please go ahead and sit down. It's important that we listen, that we be excellent listeners. And we have to practice this skill each and every day. Now, I'm a good listener. And my wife is a pretty good listener. And by the way, I honor my wife so much. I love my wife with all my heart. And I only take her to the most wonderful places to eat. We were eating at a French restaurant the other day. You may have heard of it, Hardee's. Now they have French fries, don't they? We were sitting there eating at Hardee's, and my wife leaned over and she said, "Honey, there's a hair in my drink." Ooh. I said, "Okay." So I just graciously got up. I took this cup up to the counter. I asked the young manager to come over, and very discreetly I leaned forward and I said, "Excuse me, but there's a hair in my wife's drink." He said, "What kind?" "What kind? It was that long and it was black. What do I look like, a cosmetologist?" He said, "No, sir. What kind of drink?" We have to be excellent listeners and communicators, folks, or it just goes right over our head.